If the blank is blank then half of the denominator, the fraction is less than blank. Alright, so if the blank is blank then half of the denominator, so if the numerator is it less than or greater than half the denominator? So if we have a denominator here, let's call it b. Let's say we have a over b. So if the numerator is blank then half of the denominator, so it's saying 1/2 of the denominator, then the fraction is less than blank. Okay, so if the numerator is it less than or greater than half of the denominator? It is less than, the numerator is less than half of the denominator. If the numerator is less than half of the denominator, the fraction is less than 1/2. So in this case, 3 over 8 less 1/2 of 8 is 4. If this 4 is, because this 4 is greater than this 3, because this 4 greater than 3, this relationship between this and this, that means it is less than 1/2. However, if we have 7 over 10, we can say this 10, 1/2 of 10 is 5. 5 is less than 7, so 5 is less than 7. Therefore, 7, that means it's more than 1/2. Now, you might ask yourself, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this 1/2 times the denominator step? Could I just memorize this and be okay? Yes, but let's really look at why we do that. So when we have this 3 over 8, we're trying to compare it to 1/2, right? We're trying to compare to 1/2. Now, we know that the denominator is 8, and because we know that the whole is 8, we can ask ourselves, what would make this guy a half? That would be, if this guy was 4 over 8, that would make it 1/2, right? And we're actually just comparing the 3 over 8 to this 4 over 8. And we notice that the 4 over 8 is greater than this 3 over 8. Okay? Which makes that 3 over 8 less than 1/2. So again, what our goal is to find, or let's do it again here. We're trying to compare this to 1/2. And the only way to compare that to a half is to figure out, how could I make a half out of this? If this is 7 out of 10, what would make this 1/2? Well, half of 10 is 5. So that would just mean 5 over 10 equals 1/2. Again, we can't change the denominator. We can just think about what would make the numerator such that the denominator is the same, but we get to the halfway mark. What is the halfway mark? That would mean 5 over 10. And now, is 5 over 10 greater than or less than 7 over 10? And because the denominators are the same, I can say that 7 over 10 is greater than 5 over 10. Which means that 7 over 10 is more than a half. Okay, so the goal isn't just to memorize these steps of if the numerator is less than half the denominator, the fraction is less. This is fine to know, but what's important is the reason as to why this works. And the reason why it works is when you have a fraction and you want to quickly figure out, is it less than or greater than a half, you figure out what would be the half. What would be the halfway mark of these fractions? Well, in this case, it'll be 5 over 10, and in this case, it'll be 4 over 8. And now, when we have this situation here, when we compare 3 over 8 and 4 over 8, we can figure out if it's less than or if it's greater than. And this is just a step to get there. And if you forget these steps, you can really think about it. What are we trying to do? We're trying to make this fraction. We're trying to find the halfway point. And the halfway point is here. And now is that halfway point greater than or less than the original? And that's it.